Hello, everyone, and welcome to AudioSummary. Here, we break down your favorite books and movies into short, powerful audio stories, so you get the heart of the story fast. If you love storytelling, but don't always have the time, you're in the right place. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and let's dive right in. A Real Pain, 2024. The film begins as cousins David, played by Jesse Eisenberg, and Benji, played by Kieran Culkin, reunite at an airport in New York. Benji claims he's been waiting there for hours, while David, who is anxious about running late, finally arrives. David is married to Priya, played by Laura Torsha, and they have a young son named Abe, portrayed by Banner Eisenberg. Benji, on the other hand, is carefree and single. The two are headed to Poland on a Jewish heritage tour in honor of their late grandmother, Dory. After arriving at their hotel, Benji makes a strange comment about David's feet. Later, they meet the rest of the tour group, led by a British guide named James, played by Will Sharp. Among the group is Marcia, portrayed by Jennifer Grey, who is traveling alone, a couple named Mark and Diane, played by Daniel Resks and Liza Sadovy, and a Rwandan refugee named Eloge, played by Kurti Jaiwan, who converted to Judaism. Benji shows curiosity about Eloge's story, which worries David, but Eloge warmly shares a moving anecdote, grateful for the interest. The group begins exploring the city. They stop at a monument honoring Polish soldiers. While David wants to take a simple photo, Benji orchestrates a dramatic group pose that David reluctantly captures. As they walk, Benji starts bonding with other group members like Marcia. On a train ride, Benji becomes visibly uncomfortable with the idea of Jewish people sitting in a train car similar to those used during the Holocaust. Unable to handle it, he moves to another car, and David follows to keep him company. They later realize they got off at the wrong stop because Benji didn't want to wake David. David is frustrated, but Benji quickly hatches a plan to sneak onto a train going in the opposite direction, even slipping into first class to avoid being caught. They eventually reunite with the group, who had kindly held on to their bags. Next, the tour visits a cemetery where James shares information about those buried there. Benji grows upset with James for talking about the dead as if they were just statistics, making David visibly uncomfortable. Benji then encourages everyone to place a stone on a random grave, honoring the memory of someone who might otherwise be forgotten. That evening, they all stop at a restaurant. Benji, slightly drunk, makes some off-color remarks and lets out a loud belch before excusing himself to use the bathroom. After he leaves, David apologizes for his cousin's behavior. Some in the group, like Marcia and Diane, are understanding, acknowledging that Benji is still grieving the loss of their grandmother. David opens up and explains that he and Benji used to be very close, but they've grown apart, especially after Benji attempted suicide 6 months earlier by overdosing. Suddenly, the sound of a piano playing draws everyone's attention. It turns out that Benji is at the piano, playing beautifully. The next day, the group visits the site of a former concentration camp. It's a deeply emotional moment for everyone. Benji, in particular, becomes overwhelmed, barely able to contain his emotions next to David. Later, James quietly tells Benji that his presence and perspective actually influenced the way he guided the tour, and thanks him for it. That night, after parting ways with the rest of the group, David and Benji sneak into the rooftop of the Hotel Victoria to smoke a joint. Benji had mailed it to himself ahead of time. Their conversation starts lighthearted, but soon turns into a heated exchange. Benji suggests that David won't keep in touch after the trip, while David accuses Benji of being emotionally volatile. Benji says David used to feel things more deeply and cry more often, while David counters that feeling everything all the time is exhausting. He also lashes out about Benji's suicide attempt, revealing how much it scared and hurt the family. The next morning, before flying home, David and Benji visit their grandmother Dory's old home. Benji recalls a moment when Dory slapped him for showing up late and hid at dinner. Oddly, he says it was the best thing that ever happened to him. They leave stones on the front porch in her memory, but an elderly neighbor and his adult son notice. The son translates and tells the cousins that while their gesture is sweet, it's best not to leave the stones. An elderly woman lives there now and might trip over them. David and Benji respectfully pick up the stones before leaving. Back in New York, David and Benji part ways at the airport. David invites Benji to dinner, but Benji declines, joking that airports are where you meet the craziest people. In a moment of emotion, David slaps Benji gently across the face, just like Grandma Dory once did, hoping it might help. Benji laughs, and the two share a long, heartfelt hug. David returns home, warmly greeted by Priya and Abe. Meanwhile, Benji sits alone at the airport once more. The film tells the story of two estranged cousins, David and Benji Kaplan, who reunite for a Jewish heritage tour in Poland after the passing of their grandmother. As the group visits historical sites and bonds through shared stories and grief, David and Benji slowly confront their emotional rift. David reveals the strain caused by Benji's unpredictable behavior and past suicide attempt, while Benji accuses David of becoming emotionally numb. Their journey is marked by tension, laughter, and vulnerability, ultimately leading to a bittersweet reconnection before they return home, changed, but still uncertain about the future. Thanks for listening to Audio Summary. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and stay curious. Until next time,